person that I can't let today pass without mentioning. He was soldiering with us for years. Good friend of mine, first cousin of Conor Whelan. He passed away in 2014. Niall Donohue. We'll never forget him. We'll remember him today.
I find it hard to go to the graveyard. My wife died, I didn't find it hard. It was a totally different type of bereavement. You have to experience these things before you know what they're like, otherwise you wouldn't have a clue. No one would, like. I'm not disrespecting anyone's opinions or anything, but you just wouldn't have a clue.
It's unexplainable.
It's unexplainable, yeah, but I find it hard to go to the graveyard since Niall was buried there. He's over 4 years dead now, and I'd say you nearly counted that hand and many times he's gone in. That's the truth. I find it hard to believe he's in there, like. Felt that it go out in Croke Park in front of 82,000 people, you get me? You wonder how they're so strong and how they come in so weak. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to explain it, like. But it happened, you know, it's happening every day, but that's life, I suppose, and that's crosses people have to carry, and you just get up and get on with it, and hopefully, do you know what I mean? I've talked to people all over the world, and all over Ireland, I mean, and people from abroad as well, and they told me how their crosses that their families have met generations back, and they've got up and got on with it, and hopefully the next generation will be different. Oh, my name is Francie and Shane, father of Niall.
My name's Conor Whelan, first cousin of Niall.
My name's Shane Donohue, brother of Niall Donohue.
David Burke, friend and teammate.
Justin Fahy, friend, teammate, and was chairman of the club that time. Yeah.
So we'd won the Leinster final and we'd won the league earlier that year, and like you'd be thinking of things that you were going to put in, maybe them speeches, and it was only in my head. I had never written anything down for them, and you were just thinking, yeah, look, Niall was on top of my mind, and I said, no, if the only way if I mention him at the right time was if we lifted Liam McCarty, because obviously he'd won the Leinster, and that would have been a special time just to remember him for the couple of seconds it was, and you might never get the chance at that stage to do it again. So it was the first time that we'd won the All Ireland since he passed away, so I think it was appropriate that I get him in the speech.
And he loved sport and very competitive since he was 3 years of age. Yeah, he was competitive. And I suppose he was probably the youngest of a group of boys that was around the area, you know. There was Shane and his friends, and he was probably the youngest, and he used to be out hurling with them and playing soccer and football with them. And I suppose he was always competitive with them, you know, and he was always as good as them, I thought, and wanted to be better than them. And I think that's what brings on a kid. I think it's very important for a kid to be active in sport when they're very young. As anyone that is, they seem to excel at it. I see Conor the same way. I used to visit Conor when he was a kid. I remember Conor was always out the front of his house hurling, always. Driving balls, he'd goalposts up and drive them over across the road. And he'd the hurl in his hand. If I went sit down to Conor's house 7 days a week, Conor had the hurl in his hand. And Niall was the very same. He wanted to be a perfectionist in Niall. He wanted to make no mistake, that's what I found about him, like. Wherever he went at, he wanted to be a perfectionist. I think it I'd say it sort of got on top of him to finish. I don't know, he liked it from day one. Do you know what I mean? He liked it from day one, and I had goalposts up out the back in the back lawn, and they were small. And they should be hurling out there. And Shane would be with him, and a couple of their friends would be hurling out the back, especially on Friday evening. They'd come collect from school on Friday evening, and there's Saturday they'd have no school, so there would be a party in my house, and they'd be hurling there. Many a battle, yeah, and many a belt and come in crying and blood drawn, but sure, that's what makes a hurler. If you look at a lot of families where there are 3 or 4 boys or 5 boys, there was always a few that mixed elder hurling. A lot of them, if you go back in the years and look at them, even Galway, other counties as well, there were 3 or 4 boys in the family, and that's what makes hurlers, I think. They start young and they're competitive, and usually the youngest lad is the best a lot of the time, because he's competing again stronger than himself at a young age, or brings him on, you get me, and makes him very competitive. Well,
when we were younger,
Jamesy, you like Jamesy O'Connor, you used to talk a bit about him, yeah?
When we were younger, it was Brian and Frank Lohan out in the lawn, like, that was the two. That's who we'd be, you know, you'd be younger, you'd be pretending you wanted to be somebody, like, yeah, it was the 2 Lohans, yeah.
All we have in the parish is the pitch, the church and the pub, that's it. And like, you live around the pitch. That's like, everyone jumped on the bandwagon in Quebec and they with them.
We're one of the smallest parishes in the county.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think we are one of the smallest in County Galway, so the population is small as well.
Yeah, cycled, walked, everything, yeah.
How far is it from the house to here?
About 3 miles.
3 miles.
That's not fair, no. Which is, we used to spend all summer down here, every summer, hurling.
You know, it was just such an honour to have him as your cousin, like, and you'd be looking at him and he'd be the best player in the field by a country mile, like, and it was just a nice thing to be able to say he was your cousin, like, and everyone would be asking who he is, like, and when they realise he's your first cousin, then it'd nearly make you feel 2 foot taller, you know. And it looked like for 6 years between us, like, so, you know, he would have been a nice bit older than me, and it's just, he was kind of my hero growing up, and he was living the dream according to me, and it's just everything that I
That's what I think of you now. That's what I think of you now. It's reversed.
I remember calling up a few times, and I remember one day I went up and Niall had an old hurler that he was kind of finished up with, and I was only honoured to take the hurl off him, and I brought it down and I put 2 new grips on it and I sanded it down, and it was like a brand new hurl, but because it was Niall's in, I was absolutely thrilled, and I was abroad in the back lawn and I was hammering balls all sides of it, but sure, the hurl was useless, like, it's just the fact that I was just so happy to get Niall's hurl, like, you know.
It was always the 2 of us cornerback, like, you're guaranteed if the ball went down his corner, like, he was getting it, there was no, you'd have 100% confidence in him, like, and that's only at 11 or 12 years of age, like, you know.
I'd get home from work and to be just park my van and my work van and into the car and straight down here to the match here, you know what I mean? And he'd give 100%, like, you know what I mean?
His cousin Niall McDonough spoke about he used to wear miraculous medals going into his shorts.
He used, yeah, would you believe it, there was actually one poster to Monty before the 12 final. Some fella from I don't know where. He said to me, what will I do with this? And well, I showed it to me short. I said, I don't mind, I'll stitch it on if you want. No, he didn't always do it like that, when he that kind of started it, you know. But lots of people get them from people that give them to them all. Did you ever get any Conor?
I did. You
did, Wrexham Middles, yeah, loads of players get them off people, like, off the public. Some people believe in that, but like, I think if you're good enough, you'll win. If you aren't, you won't. That's my...
So it's beside the point.
Yeah, same as Mio. That's how Mio's course.
The one where he was the first day he fired over the serious point out the sideline.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was the
first match.
That was the first match. Yeah. Oh yeah. There was someone behind me, and they said, "Good man, Francie." I don't know who shouted it up to Oaken's tent.
Yeah, but
I didn't even look back to see it.
There was so much more left of him. Like, we only seen flashes of it that year. Like,
it's all, yeah. Do you know what? He
like
loved that. And he loved the high moment. You know, and scoring that final would mean a lot to him. You know.
If he was still there, like, you'd be comparing it.
Yeah.
Even when watching this lad hurling, like, he's very similar traits, like tough, fucking no room for passengers, like, you know.
He said to Henry Shefflin that what he said to us all, there's no ball at all coming down this way or something, Joe. He was marking Henry, that's it, like.
Marking basically the legend of the game.
He was, yeah. Do you know, and he actually held them scoreless from play, that's it.
Yeah. And Shane, you were in Australia when this was happening, were you? So
yeah.
Were you watching online and going nuts in some bedroom in Australia?
Yeah, no. The few was used to.
There was a bedroom now, so.
No. We used to meet up and watch all the matches, like, yeah. Yeah, I was very nearly home for the 12 All Ireland. I was sitting one day at work debating whether I'd go, like. And it's just too far, like, isn't it, really? You know, it's.
Looking back, do you wish you'd come back?
Sure, of course, yeah. Like, as I looked at it back then, it was only the beginning. Like, it was only the beginning for Niall anyway. And that, you know, you look at it as a Galway thing, but when your brother is playing, you look at it as nearly your journey as well. Like, like that was only the beginning. Yeah, so it was good. There was supposed to be so much more. Like, you know.
Yeah, he used to take defeat hard, I think. You know, and didn't win. I think he used to. You know, I think he found it hard to
process it, overthink it.
Yeah, defeat. Yeah, and overthink it. And he used to be hard on himself, I think. Do you get me?
Yeah.
He took defeat as a kind of a bad thing. Instead of saying, "Let it go to hell. We'll be back next year." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of learning from it, moving on. Yeah, he'd dissect every ball 10 times. Like.
Yeah, and he'd record all the matches, like, at home, and when he'd sit down.
He could be watching at any stage.
He'd come home then, he'd be watching the matches a week or two later and watch them over, and I said, you shouldn't have that done, and made a mistake there, and I said, he shouldn't be at that really, you know. Do you know what I mean?
Obsessive about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
too obsessive about it altogether, and
seemed to take him out of his comfort zone more than anything.
it did in the finish, I'd say. But he was a perfectionist. He didn't want to make no mistakes. Do you know what I mean? That was his problem, really, the downfall. You know?
2 or 3 weeks, was it?
Yeah, a couple of weeks before that.
I suppose.
It's a brilliant game. You know, you wouldn't think there's nothing wrong with him. But then, I suppose, you know, he was suffering for a while, let's say, you know, he was in bad form and down himself, you know, for a bit before that, I'd say, you know.
In what way?
I don't know, he was, you know, I'd say it was more anxiety than anything else. One day he'd been great for him, next day he'd been poor for him enough, you know.
But you're leading up to hurling matches that year, championship, like you'd be panic stations nearly like before matches and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it was more worrying about making the mistake before he even made it, like, you know.
I'd say so, yeah.
It seemed to be a bit like nearly panic attacks before matches, like, and
yeah.
there's so much expectation of them, and he'd take that personally, like, you know, like there's so much expectation on players now, and there was back then too, like, you know, it really changed, and like he'd take that like most people would just take it and carry it, like, but he'd get too bogged down it, like, I think.
He was such a big role model in the area, and I suppose maybe he was suffering and he felt he shouldn't be able to. He shouldn't be a person of his stature shouldn't be suffering, like, and I just think, you know, in a way it was a massive thing for him to be playing with Galway, but like when you look back and you take it away from the hurling, like, maybe he could have been better off if he wasn't hurling for Galway and he was just another normal person, like, and he felt it was perfectly normal, like, to go and seek help, like. But I suppose he was just so focused on being a Galway hurler that, you know, maybe he wasn't thinking about his mental health as much as he was thinking more so about hurling, and I suppose it all just came to a certain stage, and that's just the way that it finished up, I suppose.
When you've so many people looking up to you, how do you come out and say that you're suffering, like, or you're not feeling great, or like when you want to be the best, like, and you're there, how do you bring yourself back down from it, like, you know? So
the day itself, when it happens, what's your recollection of that day, Francie?
Oh, sure, I was going off to work, you know, and he was I came back at about, I was going to work, and he was to pick up his car with
Richie, wasn't it?
Richie Cummins, yeah. Richie and I was back around 12 o'clock, I said, at the house, and he was talking to Richie on the phone, and he said Richie was ringing him on the phone, and he said they were going to pick up the car, you know. So they arranged schedules, so I said okay, and do you know what I mean, and I thought they were going to pick up the car. The next thing, I was talking to Richie, I suppose a day or two later, and he told me that not to bother calling, they did a few things to do, he said to Richie, do you know, and not to call for an hour or two. That arranged, Richie was to call around, say 12:30 or so, whatever, you know. So he seemingly told Richie not to call, did a few things sort out, like a few things to do, not to call for an hour or two. So of course Richie bring him back in, of course there was no answer, do you know what I mean? So whatever came into his head, do you know what I mean? Whatever the reason was, I don't know, but I suppose the man was suffering in silence, that's there for a long time too, just worse than we thought, you know what I mean? A lot, even the public thought, do you know what I mean? Obviously he was, you know, but he was quiet, he wasn't the type to talk anywhere, curse or swear, do you know what I mean?
He wasn't the type to say much, like, so.
No, some people will set it out, their anger, they're great, you know, they're deaf and blind, which is a good thing, do you know what I mean? But he wouldn't, like, do you know what I mean? Or if something said something about hurling, just, you missed the ball there, this is that, another, let's tell them to off, like, what would you know about it? But he wouldn't, do you know what I mean?
He'd take it home, like, yeah.
He would, yeah, he'd take it home.
There's another lad to tell you where to go, like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I found out even about 6. I came home about 6 o'clock in the evening. Around that anyway, and then I found out, and there was a garage off the house, like, and I said the light is on there. there was a window and like, and then the light was on there. Like I said, he must go out and put off the light, and that's where I found him inside. Around 6, half 6, around there, around 6ish.
That must have been.
Oh, it was some shock, yes. I just opened the road and walked in, and then I walked out again with the shock that didn't realise. I went out again straight away. Then it hit you after a minute or two, you know. What's after really happening, like, oh, totally sure. I just rang Dick, and my nephew was next door living to me, and I rang him. You know, I said, "You're around?" "I am," he said. And he said, Declan is working, he's usually busy, but he was happening to be around there most of the days, they'd come and go, you know. Self-employed, so. Oh, it was something to get you. It's like, I haven't a happy day since, I think, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? That's over 4 years ago.
So how did you try and process it at the time?
It's an awful toll, but it's sure. Oh, sure, you try and do your best, you try and carry on from day to day, and you try and, do you know what I mean? Do a bit today and do a bit today, and try and get out of the house and try and talk to the public about it, and not stay in the house too much is very important in you. There was 2 or 3 months I hardly wanted to go to the road, like I used to go to the local pub a couple of nights a week for a few pints and the chat more than the drink, and I had no interest in going there. They say, people called to me, my neighbours, "Come on, we'll go to the pub down to McCarty's, the local pub," and no, I said no interest. You lose interest in the public. Anyone, bereavement in the family, that type of bereavement will tell you the same thing. Like, you lose interest in the public for months, you know what I mean? But bit by bit, you recover bit by bit. But I got support now from friends and neighbours. I'm self-employed as a plumber. I know a lot of people, and I travelled a lot. I worked all over Clare and all over Galway. So I know a lot of people, like, you know, and didn't go to matches. You'd get to know an awful lot of people. Went to hurling matches, and I was in every pitch, you know, in Galway and Clare and Ireland, and with Niall and East Ireland, and you get to know an awful lot of people. People are good, you know.
I was at work in Australia. It was obviously I was working. I was driving a machine. I'd picked up, obviously because we were ahead. It was Niall's birthday, like Ghani's birthday, but I was driving the machine. I picked up the phone to ring him, and I said, "Fuck it, no, I'll leave it an hour or two. I'll leave it till evening." Like, it would have been early morning, like in Ireland. And I said I'd leave it. So it was about, I'd say that was about 12 o'clock at night. I was on night shift, so about just getting bright, maybe 4 in the morning. My cousin Declan rang. And I was actually I was driving on the road. I was actually driving a jeep to pick up parts, and he just said, I can remember it like it was this minute. He said, "What are you at?" I said, "I'm just driving up the road." He goes, "Pull in." I said, "What's wrong?" He goes, "Pull in." So I pulled in, and I said, "What's wrong?" I said, "What happened to the outlet, the father, like Francie?" He goes, "Nothing." I said, "Niall." He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "What?" He just goes, "He's dead." And I was standing at the side of the jeep, and so I just fell down on my 2 knees, crying like I couldn't. I was there for about 15 minutes, I'd say, on the side of the road, just lying there. Couldn't move, like, couldn't do anything. Just, I don't know, you never expected, like, never. Like, I don't know, this thing in life where you think it can't get any worse, like, you know. Like when our mother died, when we were young, like, you took for granted, I guess. You just think that, you know, it's never going to happen to you again, like. It's just naive and young, I guess, yeah. You're susceptible to anything, like, at any time. So I'm there flicking through Facebook, like, and you're reading stuff, like, you know, that's already loaded on the phone, like, and it's just, you're just wondering, is it real, like, is it real, like, at all? We got off the plane, like, and I was getting a haircut in Dublin the way down. There was newspapers in the barbers, like, and I went to pick up one of them, like, and one of the boys took it off me, like, you know. I didn't realise how big the whole thing was. Yeah, I don't know, I can't even explain. I don't know, it was just, yeah. I don't know, you couldn't even explain what what it's like really. You see all these 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old young fellas coming in, leaving their hurling ball or their Galway scarf in the bottom of the coffin, like it's.
Yeah.
But the image is as clear, like, you know, as if it's happening again, like, yeah. And they're crying, like.
Yeah.
Young lads from around neighbouring parishes and parish, like, yeah.
1,000 people at the funeral, according to.
I don't know, I never actually.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
I'd say there's more even. Jesus.
No, there was, yeah.
Just my hand was sore that day.
And his Galway number 5 jersey was laid out, and his number 6 Kilbake jersey as well. That's
Yeah.
kind of thing. What else stands out? Because you know, his club players carried club mates carried the coffin for a while, and then some of the county teammates carried the
They
coffin
carried
as
it
well.
into the church, yeah, and the club players carried it from Mourns, wasn't it? Oh, they both, yeah, they carried it all the way to the graveyard.
The whole way, yeah.
Yeah.
Church graveyard, yeah.
Yeah, I used to go to the graveyard 3 or 4 times a week. I used to just pull in, like, and just in disbelief, really, to go in wondering, was it real, like, you know? And there was days coming out of the graveyard, I was very tempted to go straight across the road, like, to ditch the other side in the car, like, it's just pure anger, I guess, like. But I don't know, I just have to get up and get on, like, I guess I've got a 4.5-year-old son now. He was only nearly 1 at the time. That was a great distraction. Like, I can remember days seeing him smiling, like, that'd make my day, like, you know. There was days that he was up at the house, and I'd say it was the only time Dad ever smiled was when the young fella was messing in the kitchen or something, like, you know. Like, only for him, I don't know. I wouldn't have taken it as well anyway.
Conor, you had a flag with Niall on it when you won the All Ireland
Yeah.
in 2017 as well, so he was firmly on your mind that day.
Well, there's actually a story behind the flag. Was that when Niall died, our kit man, his name is Tex, James Callanan, is his actual real name, but we all know him as Tex. And when Niall died, he got that flag made, so that would have been 2013. So then he had the flag made, and he left in the bottom of the gear bag, always, where all the jerseys were. And he said the only time he's ever going to take it out was when Galway won the All Ireland. And he had it with him that day, and after the final whistle went, he just called me over and handed me the flag. And you know, I share a very good relationship with Tex, and I suppose he knew how much Niall meant to not only me but the whole team, like, and the legacy that he left behind. And that was just a very, I won't say nice, but emotional moment, and something that you'll cherish for the rest of your life, I suppose.
I knew about the flag. So I was one of the outsiders of the Galway team that knew about it, and I thought it was a lovely idea. But that's going back from, I think it was the year after he had the flag and that. But Tex always said to me that they'd bring it out at the right time, and that was the right time. And I suppose afterwards you're the first thing you do once they win it is just look up to the heavens and say, and you're just thinking of them, aren't you? You're thinking what could have been.
I was absolutely delighted for the players, and they didn't forget him. To get me, and how much he meant to his mate, you know. You know what I mean? And I have great respect for them for doing that. They could have easily won the All Ireland and sort of forgot about him and mentioned him.
It's something that even a smaller thing than that was just like in my own head since he'd gone. You'd be always thinking if we could win the Liam McCarty and bring it back up to Francie in the house just for an evening. That was always a driving factor, and every lad would have different driving factors or motivating factors. Like it's just bringing. I never wanted to go back up to Donough's without the cup again. Like you wanted to bring it up, and I felt probably proud in a sense. To be able to do that. But
there was a big, suicide, you see, was not talked about, and not mentioned much. But I don't know, it's more open now, and it's more out in the public, and people are not ashamed to talk about it. Thousands of people said to me after Niall dying, I suffer from depression. I have a son, I have a daughter, I have a child suffering from depression from all over the country, literally thousands. And they're not afraid to talk to me about it, and I talked to them about it. I was at the funeral there a week ago, and I went into the local pub in the area, and a fella said, "Hello, how are you, Francie?" Big wave at me, like. Do you know what I mean? And I went in with a fella, a friend of mine, into the pub, and I said, "Hold on a minute, I must go up and talk to this fella and see him for a while." And he exploded out to me how his son is suffering from depression and suicidal. And then what brought me up to talk to him? He said, God sent you in, he said. Will you talk to me? He said, I said, I will. So I sat down, I was half an hour talking to him. And I left my mate stranded, like. So I was talking, he's poured out in, telling me this and telling me this and telling me this and telling me this. And he said, will you talk to the wife? He said, my wife is down there, will you talk to her? I said, we'll bring her up here and I'll talk to her and sit her down there and I'll talk to her. And I was been another half an hour talking to her. Just me. Explain to them about this, that, and do this and do that and do the other, and what you shouldn't do and what you should not do and all this. And they were delighted. Both of them. That's only a week ago, like.
I think Niall put a lot of that on the map, though. You know, I don't think.
Well, he did.
I
definitely.
think a lot of people were experiencing the same as he was, but they didn't really know what it was, or else they were just too embarrassed to come out about it. And I suppose when such a sports figure dies from it, then I suppose people who were reading about it and were experiencing the same thing he was experiencing, and I think he did help remove a bit of that stigma, like. But I'd still be of the opinion there's still a bit of a stigma out there, like.
You really have to want to help yourself before anybody else can help you, like I don't know, I don't know if Niall really wanted to give in to get the help, because I don't know if you
have to kind of accept that you have a problem.
I think the people that have problems have to accept themselves and go and decide they want the help, and then the help is definitely there for them now, like.
That's probably the hardest bit, though, I'd say.
Yeah, it's just getting people to admit they have a problem or to admit they need help, like. It just doesn't seem to be happening yet, like. Oh, don't worry, don't get me wrong, it's been the last 2 years, the amount of people that have got help is unbelievable, yeah. But I still think there's a lot of people that it might only be a small bit of help, like. Like, I think with Niall, a lot of small problems snowballed into a bigger problem, like, like when you're gone, all these other things in life can be fixed, like.
I think once any person that dies by suicide, I think it's not the end. You get me? I think it's fixed for now, and you know what I mean? I think they don't understand, and a lot of them are, they're so weak they're not able to look for help, and that's where we fall down, the public fall down, I think. They're not able to look for help, and I explained that to the couple I spoke to a week ago. Do you know what I mean? Don't give out to him and say, copper, salon, copper. I said, if he wanted help, if he wanted a week off work, like, and they said, do you know what I mean? And I said, if he wants a week off work,
if he wants a year off work, let
him take it off. I said, don't go in him. I said, because if he wants to, that's a sign that he's weak and that he's looking for help. To get me? Do you know what I mean? But that's where the public is falling down. You see, you don't actually see the sickness in them. Do you know what I mean? They haven't a broken leg or a broken limb, or they're not limping, or they haven't a headache. Do you know what I mean? And that's where the public falls down a bit. They're not able to read their mind of mental illness. I think that's the problem, And some people are not able to look for help. They're so weak, they're not able. They're not able to ask for it. They're gone too far. They get me, like. And we should be, do you know what I mean? We should be easier on them, I think, and talk to them. I think if you sit down and talk to a person that suffers from mental health, and even get someone to talk to them that has recovered from it, I think to do a lot for them. Sit down beside them, talk to them for 1 hour. A combination of small problems that erupt, you know what I mean? And if you get into that frame of mind, I suppose it's very hard to get out of it. Like, you get into it bit by bit, and the next thing is gone too far, and it takes a long time to get out of it. You won't get out in a week or two. It takes years, maybe.
Do you think a lot of the suicides are decisions made at a bad time, and that if they hadn't happened that day, that they wouldn't happen again, or?
Oh yeah,
impulsively.
I think Niall's was a bit impulsive, and I don't know if we ever talked about it, but
yeah, like it is an impulsive decision, and like the message I put out there is just to talk, like and as I said, it's the Cycle Against Suicide message. It's absolutely okay not to feel okay, and it's absolutely okay to ask for help. I think that's a great message to go out there to anyone that is like it's depression, but it's a struggle they're going through. I see it, and there's a way out of that struggle, and you just have to. Like, you have to think of if you are going through that struggle, to talk to people, because the devastation that's left behind with the family members and friends and teammates, it's just dreadful.
I don't know how far forward we can move, but to change the what ifs and the buts. It took 2 years, yeah.
Thanks very much. Really appreciate your honesty there.
Well, I hope that help anyone that's suffering from mental illness. I hope that help them and not be afraid to come out and talk. If anyone wants to talk to me, they can pick up the phone and ring me. I don't mind. I have no problem. Like, I need to help people as much as I can and not to be ashamed about it. It's an illness the same as any illness. It's in their fault they're mentally sick. You know what I mean? And that's the problem is with the public, you see, you know. And they're afraid, and I hope that they will come forward, and I hope, you know, I hope Niall has helped a lot of people, which he has. The amount of people said it to me is unbelievable. Like,
if people are in this kind of in this kind of state and are thinking like this and are very low and depressed, like, they have to think of them relationships that they leave behind. You know, the relationships of all them people that they know that's gone for them, and like it's hard to put this into words, but they have to be mindful of them as well, and it's nearly that sense of a life that you leave behind. It's you only get one chance at it, so it's important that who are the people you're surrounded with. If I'm feeling lonely or sad, can I talk to these people? If not, get to someone that I can talk to and trust. And not more often than not, it's probably in the next room down the hall in your house, or it's a lad that you took out beside a train, or someone you sit beside in school, and they're the people you have to trust with. Talk to them, you know, whatever is on your mind, just have a chat with them. And for anyone else that knows these type of people, you have to just be willing to ask that hard question and sit down with them and really throw it out there, because you can't just say, no, it's not okay, and he said throws it off, but you have to really dig in and find out and really help them, because at the end of the day it's you that's going to suffer then as well if this happens. So look, I just plead with everyone out there just to kind of, I suppose, there's loads of things in place nowadays, whether it's school, in club, you have welfare officers, you have liaison officers within schools, and it's there is pressures in school, there is pressures in life, but everyone has the same thing and have dealt with it. So there might be a way that they've dealt with it that's different to you, that's not working, and you might be able to learn things from people like that and talk to them and figure it out and get on to the next stage of your life. And if that happens again, you talk to someone different, they might be able to educate you, teach you something different. So it's about figuring it out. It's more like a chess game than anything. When you get caught in a certain position, you need to be able to work your way out of it and learn from different people and talk to them. And I just plead with especially young males, where it's really prominent in suicide, that they kind of open up about that and get talking about it.
Whereas the league going up, it's about 9 points. So it's not a hard to
Great shot, that one.
Jeez, yeah, that's a good one, yeah. It is, yeah. That was in the 12 final, yeah.